salt useful? Because I might need the fuck out of it right now.
So I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'll enjoy some rum, so I'll go to sleep. Wrong. I was seasick when I was hungover, and
Yeah,
then
I can imagine being hungover is not good on a boat like
I was
that.
puking before the boat even left the pier. And I literally, since I knew
Oh
everyone on the
god.
boat, they let me go down to the crew quarters and sleep in one of the bed. And all I did was puke my face off all the Gatorades, and it was just awful. That was the last time I went out.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun. And I don't know how pirates did it. They drank all that rum and they're on the
Well,
seas all
because
the time.
that life was awful.
After a while, your kinesthetic sense just goes. Like
They
they
made
say
me.
that the conversion period is like 2 days, 2 to 3 days. After that, you just don't feel seasick at all.
Yeah, but it was just you say all the. Yeah, basically they had what's called I think it's called black powder tea, where basically they just put black tea in with the rum.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been on boats all my life. I've never been seasick. I have felt weird when I've gotten off like long trips on boats, like the
Yeah,
I
like
cruise I
get
was on.
so seasick.
the ground keeps rocking.
Yeah, for like 3 days.
Yeah, I've had that before as well.
I
It
normally
was
take.
um, it was when I went scuba diving. It's actually quite funny, and it is also quite disgusting. The story. I actually vomited as well while I was scuba diving, and I vomited while I was underwater
Oh man.
That's great chum for fish.
through the respirator.
Oh
Oh,
god.
that sounds unpleasant.
That's like a worst nightmare. I always think of that with scuba divers and astronauts. Like what happens?
No, it's actually fine. Like I just like basically cycled the respirator like 4 or 5 times, and it all cleared up. But
Wow.
man, scuba diving is the funnest thing, by the way. I wish I could do it more often, but it's super fucking expensive.
No, thank you. I I could I could go out probably a lot. I know a lot of scuba divers, but no, thank you. When I was a child, I loved dinosaurs and sharks, and I am terrified of
Oh,
being under the
dude,
water.
scuba diving is like
That
it's it's the best sensation in the world.
that
Like that weightlessness slash.
I went to high school with someone who died in an accident. So
Oh
no,
yeah,
no, thank you. I
yeah.
was
You need to get certified, and you need
yeah.
proper
He
like
was
dive buddies and
certified. He
stuff.
was just rough water. Then he got I guess he had an issue with one of his valves, and then he came up too fast. He got the nitrogen narcosis, and then he
All
just
right, yeah.
Then
he hit the bends. That was a weird day.
it sucks, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we get started? Can everyone test their mics?
Yes, I'm good.
Hello.
I'm
Yeah,
here.
I hear Juggy, although he's pretty quiet.
Because his
Zara, how
character.
about you?
Yeah, Juggy, me and you both seasick in chairs.
I don't, I don't hear your mic at all, Zara. If you're talking,
I don't see her character trying to blip either for speaking.
yeah, neither. Well, if she's not here, she's not here.
She said T5, so I think she's on her way.
No, no, she wants to know if she can stay at level 5 or something. I don't know. I don't know why. Um, I told her that she can start at 6 if she wants. So yes, to cover something that I missed last time because I realized just how much content that I derped last time. In that box of belongings you found in the office of Administrator Dalkan, you found a parchment or a sheaf of some basically plastic, but you don't know what it is. A report of some kind directed to a like some sort of director or something, and it reads all attempts to replicate the Sun Lance thus far have failed. Despite pursuing every avenue at our disposal, our best efforts have only availed us of a pale imitation, a disposable weapon at most, as the control prism has a tendency to destabilize and suffer resonance cascade. The Fae have been of little assistance when queried. Their cryptic riddles are as apt to cause catastrophic experimental failures. It's almost as if they're trying to actively sabotage our project. Once again, Director, I humbly request you approach the Royal Court on the behalf of Rune Institute. I sincerely believe if we had direct physical access to the Sunlance in order to analyze it in person here at the lab, we would be capable of reproducing it in short order. Signed, Administrator Delcan, Rune Harmonics Laboratory. Since we left off without you being able to query the facility's construct, we can like allude back to a scene. We'll just say that this happened. If there's anything you guys wish to ask, specifically you, Thalia, since I think you're the only one who can read Elven, right?
Ask you what a sunlance is.
Yes, I'd actually ask it what the Sunlance is, and probably Fey Royal Court, light or dark?
So the construct would reply to you that the technicians here at the Rune Harmonics Laboratory primarily dealt with Summer Court of I think it's like Queen Titania.
Yeah.
Yeah, Queen Titania of the Summer Court. And when you ask it about the Sunlance, it will tell you that the Sunlance is a magical artifact gifted by the deity, and then there's a pause, and then it says, entry missing.
Probably find a
To- to their high priest, another pause, entry missing. In the final days of the in the early days of the Titanfall wars, the artifact continued to be used right up to the, and then another pause, entry missing.
That's interesting.
It is currently stored within the Royal Archives.
We would have looked for it then.
You ask, where do you look for it?
Yeah.
It says the Royal Archives can be found, and it gives like an address that you do not recognize.
She would still write it down.
Yeah. You can just write down unknown address to Royal Archives in your notes somewhere.
Yeah.
You suspect that this address correlates to the Undercroft and not the city above, since the information that this being possesses seem to be predated information.
I'd look over, after she told us that, I'd look over to Arthur and say, which one of you the gods would most likely hand over a sunlance? Isn't that the other one? Healy, the one the city's named after?
Helios?
2 seconds. I
So-
forgot is it? Oh shoot, where is it? Selene and Eos. Yeah.
Yeah, Selene is the moon goddess, or the goddess in charge of. Her symbolry is a quarter crescent moon, or half crescent moon rather, and her counterpart, her twin sister, is Eos, the goddess of the dawn.
Arthur will also suggest that these two are possibly not the only ones that have ever existed.
There's an inside and outside snap point to every wall.
He does possess an entire bundle of trinkets of seemingly forgotten deities.
Yeah. She would have asked the avatar, where is the nearest map for finding location?
It, that's a good question.
Hi. Uh-oh.
Error of some kind that like caught line to.
I'm
to
sorry.
break.
I missed a lot of that. If you were talking, my internet just bleeped.
Yeah, no worries. So it told the voice told you that
I just found a
can
random
be found within the security office at the front foyer, and a blue
Scared the shit out of me.
magic line appears on the ground, almost like a guideline. It runs for about 30 feet back the direction that you guys enter the lab from, before something happens to it that you suspect is not by design, like there's an error of some kind and the line kind of discorporates.
Okay, so when we were leaving, then she would have hopped into the nearest terminal again after leaving the area and asked the same question.
The line continues. This time it leads you back past the staircase balcony with all those strange bloodless corpses, and down the staircase back to near the entrance where there was that side alcove with the looted armory and the desks facing the entry foyer.
Okay.
And in there is a almost like a picture on the wall, like a 5 foot wide, 3 foot tall,
Did you give her some crack?
fairly stylized. Like this isn't like a
I think
this isn't like a Google road maps. This is more like a fairly stylized map system. And it denotes
this happened to me before.
there's a little yellow diamond with the ancient archaic Elvish words "You are here" written underneath. Straight away, you can tell you're not exactly sure how useful this map is to you, because although it shows roads and alleyways and buildings and etc.,
Like a lot
you know that directly right outside, like half the areas are inaccessible purely from you're inside a cavernous space instead of what it's depicting, which is an open top city.
Well, yeah, but she'd still copy it down.
Yeah. Okay. You can copy down what would it be called? Pre-diaspora undercroft map. And yes, you do find quote unquote a place quite prominent on the map. Like it actually has its own label. Like most of the building, like 99% of the buildings are unnamed, but this building, the Royal Institute, the Royal Archives is located, and it's somewhere to the northwest. It's somewhere to the northwest, judging by if the grid layout, there's no key to show you how far distances are on this map. But if blocks are if a city block is the same size as a city block that you're used to, it's probably 20 kilometers away. 15 miles away. which if it correlates to the above ground, it would put it somewhere either in Rosewood or the whatever rum named the fancy
Pontevedra.
tap part of. Yeah. How do you spell that, by the way? I'll write that down.
Ponteverda. Or Vedra.
Life point.
Yeah. So if scales are right, it would put it somewhere in either Pontevedra or Rosewood, or at least under it.
Okay, I've flown all the way around the desert.
All right. So is there anything else you guys are doing there?
Hi, Bella.
Milo's just
Way in or on the way out?
I'm also kind of looking for loot crates.
Oh.
We're asking.
I guess on the way out. Since you guys have decided that you're headed for the place where you saw those people jump down the hole in that forgotten cathedral.
I'm looking back behind to make sure we don't get chased by any of the elementals or possibly blow up because there was not a lot of power left.
Okay. Yeah.
Milo's just checking out the like conduits and the different circuitry that they have. It's probably something that's not totally foreign, but he's trying to, as he can while they're walking out, learn what he can.
Okay. Roll me an arcana check. And you're looking specifically at the conduit systems, right?
Yeah, trying to figure out where they meet, like junction boxes or whatever the equivalent would be in this place, and how they split, and where they might. I would imagine the room we were in is where a lot of them lead to. It seems like it powers most of this place, so I'm trying to see how it splits from where we were to around the facility, and along the way just checking out if like what obvious damage there might be to different places.
Okay. So yeah, it's immediately obvious without having to roll a check at all that the place is in utter disrepair. As for damage per se, there is signs of just general decay and
That's a big
actual
question.
vandalism, whether through intentional or just unintentional as a byproduct of there being a skirmish nearby or something like that. But you at some point on your way out locate a chunk that's been taken out of a wall, and it catches your eye because you catch sight of what you originally thought was some sort of like wiring or cabling, which typically denotes in the richer parts of the district some sort of electrical, the newfangled coal generators and steam engines and stuff. But upon closer examination, you realize that the cables themselves are not made from any kind of wiring. Instead, they appear to be some sort of filament that looks almost like glass or crystal.
Well, that means we've got 2 out of 4.
And there's like entire bundles of these crystalline like fibers running through one of the broken sections of the wall, still largely intact. You can't tell if anything is going through them. Like you don't. They seem semi-transparent, but you don't see any kind of like any fluid flowing through them or any current or anything.
I mean, we're heading out, so there's not a lot of time to like just start tearing things apart. I also don't want to like get electrocuted. So again, as he's leaving, he's just trying to figure out how this place was supposed to work and disseminate this stuff along the way. If there were to be any broken pieces of this, like scrap of this filament laying around, he would pick that up and kind of take it along with him.
Yeah, you do find like a couple of places where there's some of these filaments clearly shorn off, like clearly some sort of damage or something has pulled sections of it out of the wall, and it's clearly been severed.
Rick, look at your
You could probably
cat.
cut some off yourself, should you choose to. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, if it's not connected to anything else, I would
been
take a
clearly
section
shorn.
of it.
Rick,
At some point,
Look at your
like
cat.
it's broken.
look at your cat over here.
Okay, yeah.
Mm.
So what are you using to cut it with?
Really, the only he has a knife. I
God,
could use
you're
my
such a
silver dagger,
goof.
but I think I'll just use my my regular knife from my explorer's pack.
So it actually takes you a little bit longer than you're expecting this to be like glass, you know, because that's what it resembles. But it actually has the consistency of like metal cabling, so it does actually take you a little bit of sawing before you manage to hack off like about a foot long loop of this strange crystalline fiber. It feels lightweight. It doesn't feel like as heavy as if it was made out of, for example, copper or spun steel. It feels like it's made out of flax.
If the group stops for any more than a minute or something like that, I would put on my glasses of minute seeing and I would examine it closer.
Okay. Sure. Roll me a investigation check with advantage.
God, your cat is so docile right now, Rick.
Okay.
Your,
So
your cat is so docile right
upon
now.
closer examination, you realize that this thing is not glass. It's in fact a crystal. The strangest thing about, you can see like the crystalline structure of it, but the strangest thing about the crystal is, unlike other crystals where you've seen them grow up in the classic prism-like shapes, where imperfections cause a side prism to start growing out of the main trunk of the crystal shaft. This crystal is grown in a perfectly parallel pattern for seemingly the entire length of the cable, in almost unnatural perfection. So the fact that it doesn't split off, because it's just, the structure is so perfect, and it's hairline. Each individual crystal is hairline thin, and in a bundle of these crystal threads form each of these cables, and then a bunch of these cables form this coil that you're currently carrying.
Oh shit.
Um,
I think I'm dead. I'm seeing something
So
flying.
with that investigation and kind of an inkling on my own, I mean these things look like they're manufactured as opposed to that definitely didn't find it naturally.
They do not look at all natural. Nothing in nature
I
is
can't
this
even
naturally
handle
perfect.
a spyglass anymore. I lost like.
That's
literally
me,
5%.
baby.
For now, I would keep it in my bag.
Fucking base him high 'cause I-
God,
And
cat, you're such a
I'll just
ham.
continue on with the group and
But yeah, I made
with
it
the hopes of
inclusive.
looking into it further later on.
Okay. So as you are traveling,
Yeah.
Zyra, are you here?
I would recommend not doing that.
Yeah.
There's like
Okay.
hardly any mantis out there.
So
They're kind of close to where we are.
we'll skip to you for a moment. So you've been contacted by so after you've completed your orientation course, with the Sunstalkers, you had been assigned to an observatory. So no, a chapter of the Sunstalkers in a place called Beacon Hill, which is itself seemingly an observatory up on a hill, an old observatory, seemingly no longer in use because of all the city lights at night. But it's in
Oh my gosh, you
part
guys
of
think
the
they're ways away.
near the center of town,
Ours
of
is
Helios,
slow,
the town of
yours are
Helios.
not.
When you arrived there, the place seemed to be in somewhat of a, I won't say turmoil, but there was definitely something going on. The staff there seemed harried. and you were instructed to speak to a master,
So that means
a
there's
dolmen,
one more out there.
master dolmen. Wait. Was it master? I don't think it was master. It was to speak to an Oran dolmen, who was apparently the head of the chapter. When you found him, he was speaking with a tall Alvin woman in the garbs of like a librarian, and they were having some kind of like a heated discussion. You overhear words about something about the undercroft and require assistance or something.
Is this a taming trap or
When you introduce yourself,
it's like a bunch of
Dolman
doors
seems
and ceilings?
he seems extremely worried, and in fact he immediately tasks you. And he says to you, so I hear you have some expertise
Well,
in moving about unnoticed, and is that correct?
I suppose you could say that. Depends on who's asking.
Yes. Well, good. We have a team at the moment who has and he glances over to the elven woman who kind of like
What was that?
shakes her head a little bit at him,
looking
just
at
like
the-
minutely.
No,
And
the
he
actual
says,
dice,
"Well,
the box.
never mind how they got there, but they're currently stuck underneath in the undercroft, and they need help getting out. They, for reasons I won't explain, they can't use the usual channels. And our two other teams currently, one which you have met, and I totally don't have the names on hand, but the one of the teams which ran you and a bunch of others through the Sunstalkers orientation course, and another team called Team was it Team Cook? I think it was Team Cook. Yeah, Team Cook, who's currently apparently out of town. And Dolman says to you,
There should still be a bunch of meat in the fridge.
I have with me, and he like rummages under, goes to a shelf, pulls out like a
When I make it back to base,
like a
I'll get some.
it's almost like a coin pouch. And he hands it to you, and he says, that within, if you reach your hand in and pull, should extract a length of rope.
Oh shit!
Um,
Fucking death one.
We've never found an end to that rope, so obviously it's a magical item. But make sure you keep a hand on
It's okay.
the end of the sack on it, as
that
that is the
It's really chinking my health.
the rope extrudes from there and goes back into there once you're finished with it. I need you to take this to this address, and he goes over and like hastily pulls off like a map of the city, with a place on it circled in like a blue pen or like some sort of blue ink. And he says, here you'll find a strange city block, where there's no alleyways going into the plaza behind, in the middle of the city block. You'll go to this address, and he like points out an address on the city block to you. There you shall find a door that is seemingly leads to a cellar space. If you duck through the bottom of that building, it should bring you out into the plaza. Head into the cathedral the abandoned cathedral within that plaza. In its midst, in its interior, you should find a hole in the ground, reportedly 30 feet, 40 feet wide, that leads straight down into the undercroft. Use your rope there to secure some sort of egress, and I leave it up to you. You can either go down there and wait for this team to show up. Their names are Arthur, Thalia, Obadiah,
Milo.
Milo. Yes. yeah. Or alternatively, you can wait up top until they climb up the rope. I leave that up to you, but we've had reports in that area of some sort of we don't know, some cultists or vagrants or someone that was previously using the abandoned cathedral. So you should be on your guard. Do you have any questions?
She's gonna think for a moment, trying to process all of this information. She's a little overwhelmed, but she thinks she has it. She's going to nod no and start prioritizing in the directions that she was given.
Yeah. He points you. He like basically claps you once on the shoulder and then yells. Well, not really yells. Like calls basically across the library to a seemingly like young man in a scholarly robe. I mean, he calls out, Fitzgerald, get this lass whatever she needs in order for the task. And Fitzgerald comes over and says to you, Mum, if you'll come this way, any equipment that you need, I'll provide you. And he starts to walk off into the entranceway that you came into the library from.
All right, she's gonna follow and sort out her equipment.
All right. So basically, your equipment, essentially anything from the player's handbook, you know, except for like super expensive items like stuff that costs like 200 gold or above, you can tally up from the equipment stocks. You get the feeling that they're not really like giving it to you. You get the feeling that it's like a necessity thing where like they're kind of like not really loaning it to you, but like equipping you, outfitting you with it because in case you require it. We'll skip back to the group while she is doing whatever it is she's doing. You guys travel. You're traveling towards the cathedral where you contacted Dolman saying you're headed, right?
I believe so.
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay. Who drew that?
Me?
Okay.
Right. Okay. So, right. So you guys have that map that Master Fielding gave you guys. Of
Well,
the-
he
the
lent it
green
to me,
zone.
but he's not getting it back.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
So it occurs to you that you guys have to pass through a yellow zone in order to get to that area, which is a gray zone, like it's unexplored. So how are you guys traveling? Like, are you guys
Probably
being
single
super
file
focused?
and careful.
This
Alright.
is 15 miles.
It's I forgot if no, I didn't. So it's about I would say probably like 5-mile, 4-mile journey.
Okay. Yeah, I think stealth or trying to remain stealth would be a good idea. Milo
In a
kind of
s-
looks back at Arthur. Or
In a
forward at
straight
Arthur.
line. So if you were to ignore all the caverns and you know underground stuff, it would probably actually only be about a little over a mile. But you can tell on the map that you have to like go through like buildings and down side streets and through like tunnels. It's a circuitous route. And then there's like an entire section where there's just no map at all. It's just the gray section is completely unmapped.
I think it was Matt Damon.
Yeah, so if we're trying to move stealthily, Thalia would grab probably some of her extra outfits and start making Arthur's armor a little bit more
I don't
soundproof.
know what he sings.
Wrap it up.
Extra padding.
Just putting it in between the plates and whatnot, and the chain.
Okay. Sure. I will allow him to roll his stealth check without disadvantage. So would everyone like to roll me a stealth check just to see how quiet you guys take
You said
about
you-
going about this trip?
He said
Gotta load my
you
page.
only catch the best, so I said I want to be the very best.
Oh, Obadiah starting off strong.
Decent.
So 6. No, so 4. 4.
Oh
Never mind.
man, I'm going to if we have
I'm
a
close to the best
paused
with a bunch of meat.
in the action, I'm going to remove the squirrel suit, and I think I had it over the squirrel suit, but I'm gonna have on the cloak, which might be a cloak of either
I think it's
protection or
48
resistance. I don't think we
I mean, just saying.
ultimately found out.
No, actually, his stealth roll would have been a 14.
I see the
No, because the
dates.
4 was still first.
Oh,
Are you driving?
yeah.
Holy fuck.
So I imagine Arthur probably isn't even trying to stealth. He's just walking slowly and hoping that would be helpful, but it's not.
Okay. So, you guys
Okay, I take it this is that.
travel about. So you guys go through like you know, you cross the street, you go through like the interior of a building, you come out the back, which opens up to like an entire different cavern seemingly, which is seemingly contains some sort of alleyway in between the back of 3 buildings. You travel through until part of the wall seemingly has collapsed down into like some sort of sewer line or underground passage tunnel that are underneath these buildings. There's several surveyor marks with chalk drawn on the walls of lines, and then lines written in common, saying, you know, this way towards XYZ, whatever it is. Various names that surveyors had given different caverns down here. So you follow the circuitous route, like I said, through buildings, through underground tunnels, down these weird underground streets. Perfectly normal seeming streets, except it's in a cavern. And the buildings are partially embedded in the cavern walls, like sticking out of it, like that temple on Indiana Jones. Was it Temple of? No, it wasn't Temple. It was Raiders of the Lost Ark, wasn't it?
The one with the boulder?
The one where they showed that city that was like half carved out of the mountain wall, which is
Oh,
like
Where
a
they
real
meet-
life place.
Where they meet Indy's father?
Are you talking about Petra?
Yeah, I think I am talking about Petra.
That's the Last Crusade.
Yeah, Last Crusade. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but seemingly like that, like buildings that are just like sticking out of like the cavern walls. You clear. Roll me. Actually, no. Everyone, roll me a perception check.
I'm good at those. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
That's what I get for my hubris.
Excellent.
Yes, I have pollen.
Okay, none of you notice
in the room
anything.
right now.
You're being well. You do notice that despite all your efforts, failure, Arthur is
Not afraid of him.
still
He makes me stuff.
well. He's not exactly the quietest person in the world. His metal greaves still chunk fairly loudly whenever they contact the ground. Despite that, you guys don't get jumped by anything. You travel about half an hour before you get to so your passageway leads you into a seemingly some sort of administration, some sort of bureaucratic-looking building. Like the interior is like, you know, bureaucratic buildings have the same look everywhere. There's like seemingly like offices inside, and then some sort of like conference room or something. But it leads you out into the front of this building on the second floor, which half the front of the building is just missing, like it has collapsed out into the street or something. But
Can you check?
Hey,
When you-
Kev, I got a quick question. Sorry, it just struck me. I know my big rifle's effed up, but how is the suppressor? Would I be able to remove it and put it on my revolver?
no. So the suppressor would be made for that gun specifically.
I was hoping to make it interchangeable, but I did
if-
not say it, so.
If you had another gun that was, well, suppressors don't really work interchangeably unless the gun is of the same caliber.
Gotcha.
No
Okay,
idea.
Sorry, gun nut thing. Uh,
that's fine.
so yeah, there's this front of this building is basically
Yes, I know.
missing, like the front wall of it. So the second floor just opens out onto
Another
the
version of that
the
joke
street.
is with Ukrainian.
and except when you look out over the front of the building, you see no signs of rubble on the ground, on the street. So you have no idea what the hell happened to the front of this building, but it didn't fall out onto the street. Immediately, you guys kind of, I assume you guys kind of like duck down or take cover because across the street, so you find that this building apparently sits at the end of a T intersection, where the flat side of the T faces you, and on the left-hand side corner across the street from you looks to be some sort of a tavern or a bar, some old looking tavern or bar, a corner building, building on the corner of a street with a circular tower where the very, instead of like a sharp corner, there's a circular building on its corner with a double set of doors inset halfway into the circle.
I need more space, I ran out.
You can tell that the building is occupied because the front door is partially open, and the windows, what they are on the sides of the street, are lit, and you can see the signs of movement through shadows and light being cast through the window, and you can hear the faint murmur of voices coming from inside the open door.
I'd like to send Ralph, my owl.
Have you resummoned?
What's that?
Have you resummoned him?
He got hit by
I'm-
lightning.
Oh, well then I would like to shoot. I will wait for everybody else. This is something I'm thinking of doing, but it would take a little while. Forgot about the lightning.
Okay, so while he's preparing to undergo his summoning ritual, what are the three of you doing?
Probably thinking, oh shit.
What kind of light? Like torchlight or
Looks either torchlight or some sort of fireplace. Like it's got that telltale flickering of open flames.
Arthur will say perhaps it is more of those nude people.
What kind of shape is the building compared to the buildings next to it?
Similarly dilapidated,
Okay, 'cause I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any golems.
broken windows. Yeah.
Behind me, like, is there a building behind me?
You're in a building, so
Is there, like, on the first floor?
Second.
See if there's a second floor if I can get to it.
I thought we were on the second floor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you're on the second floor, looking out onto the street. And you know what? Actually, I'll just bring you to Doodle Page, which is not so doodle.
It's time for Kev's Doodles.
Okay, so not so doodle page. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so you guys are, and I'll just draw a circle for where you guys You guys are currently here
I think you need to go to sleep.
in this building here. And
Okay.
across the street, this building has light coming from its front door partially ajar, and as well as flickering lights and shadows coming from its several windows, both on the north side and the western side. And you can tell, you can hear in this cavernous space the faint echoes of voices murmuring through the door, and there's an occasional like a voice barks something like sharply.
And then he'll say, "Perhaps not then." Because we didn't hear any of the other people that were sitting at that campfire talk, did we?
No, not. I don't think so. I think, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you got close enough to overhear any if they had any conversation.
So, Thalia offers to cast her dancing lights as a humanoid form and have it run in and run out. And go like Suicide Alley or something. Just to see if they're friendly or not.
Even if they are, it might frighten them. Might cause them to think it's an attack or something, or some preparing something.
Well, at least we'll see how they're armed then.
That's true.
That represents the front of the building that's missing, by the way. So yeah, what are you guys doing? Are you really casting your dancing lights into a person to run into the building, or is that just the plan that you're discussing?
That's the plan I'm discussing at the moment. But we do know that, what's his face did send us an assassination team after us, so if nothing else, it gets them away from there and we can pass through.
I will say, as of yet, it doesn't seem like your presence has been noticed because the voices haven't changed. In fact, roll me a perception.
All of us are just Thalia.
Anyone who wishes to, except for probably, I mean, Milo, I'll let you roll, but it'll be at disadvantage because you're currently busy. Okay, yeah. Obi, you can. There's undertones of. There's three voices distinctly that you can hear, that you can pick out, Obi, with your keen senses. There's the undertone of two subordinates either giving advice or reporting something to their superior, and then their superior either issuing orders or like querying them over their answers.
Uh-huh.
So you said it takes 12.
But obviously you can't make out what they're saying, you just hear the tone of the voice.
I'd pass it on to the group and say, well, if we do lure one out, it'll probably be one of the lower totem pole guys.
Milo goes back to his casting.
Alright, so do you guys wait for him to finish his casting, or do you guys go ahead with the plan?
Yeah, if they do something else, he'll just stop and follow suit.
Might as well wait to see what happens with his casting.
Okay,
Arthur-
so yeah. I shall take... Juggy, what were you saying?
I would say Arthur would probably say it would be best to watch them for a moment to see if they're in the middle of something or waiting for something.
Okay. So, Milo, you managed to successfully cast your familiar. We'll put him on the map.
I'm kind of like leaned up against the side of the window, like I'm playing Splinter Cell, and every now and then glancing in the direction of where the people are.
Man, why don't I have your...
Hooters owl.
Yeah. Oh, because he blew up, that's why.
He rode the lightning.
You wrote the lightning. I should really give you like an actual token for Hooters. Like an actual like sheet and everything.
His real name's Ralph, but you can call him Hooters if you want.
His friends call him Hooters.
Alright, well I'm actually just gonna throw you on there just to represent
Alright.
I think that's his line of sight, yes? Can you
It's fine,
control your
fine,
token?
Let me see. Yes.
it's almost
Okay.
62.
So yeah, your bird pops back into existence. Feeling your connection through your bird, this cautious, kind of like hiding. It remains quiet and doesn't vocalize anything.
Meow.
I have a question, just out of curiosity. Does that bird remember what happened to him last time he was
It does.
summoned?
Psst.
Although the feeling that you get through the bird, Milo, is that it's not technically a bird.
Nope.
And as a Fey spirit, I believe yours is a Fey spirit, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, as a incorporeal spirit that takes shape of a bird, it is aware that it can't die on this plane. So like it doesn't really feel
Checking
that
chem station.
worried about being electrocuted by a giant elemental.
That must be nice.
He would be very happy if you do. Look in the chem station.
Now, I always get this wrong, so I want to make sure we get it right. I think
Is it Gigas
I would
one?
use the
Super
owl's
live?
intelligence, wisdom, charisma for whatever it might be. Unlike like a druid going into
Yeah.
the animal form, correct? I will move him. I'm going to first. I'm gonna have him try to stick to the
What?
shadows
Good, because there's like
as
5 or
much as
6
possible.
spells
Okay.
on the demo base.
and
You
fly
know,
over
you
to
can
the.
see that there are still several strangely lit street lamps on the corners of the street, as well as various others. There are several that seem to have broke or whatever powers them have stopped. But yeah, your bird can definitely fly over to there, keeping to the shadows and being largely unseen.
Oh, sorry.
All right, I'll fly over here and try to see if he can look through any windows or hear anything.
It sees and hears nothing in that building.
Okay. Flies over there.
Lands on the street lamp.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're listening through its ears, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if he can see something, then he would see something. Commanded the familiar to just listen to see if it can make out any sounds, like if he can hear clearly what somebody's saying, and if so, it will let me know, and then I will go through and and occupy its headspace.
Okay, and it's trying to be quiet, yes? So roll me a stealth check.
Yeah.
Meow.
I will roll something.
Meow.
Okay. So your bird flies over and lands on the top of the lamppost with a faint clink. And the voices your bird hearing from the inside doesn't change in tonation and rhythm. However, you see one of the windows here, which looks broken. A figure steps up to the window and sticks its head out and looks left and then right, up and down the street, scanning mostly in this direction, seemingly missing your bird completely, mostly because it's not looking up. But your bird sends you a jolt of like fear and trepidation. And when you look through its eyes, if you choose to do so, do you choose to do so? I should stop remoting your character.
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay. You see what is clearly the face of a spawn, sunken cheeks, sunken eyes, ravenous looking. One of the seemingly non-intelligent ones. It looks left and right, down the street corner, and like kind of tips its nose up into the air and sniffs a little. But then seemingly finding nothing, it withdraws its head back into the window and goes back inside.
And I'm going to listen as well.
Okay.
Do I need another? Well, I haven't rolled a perception check yet.
Roll me a perception check.
All right, he's gonna get advantage on this. Actually, it's through my eyes now, so I would use my wisdom and perception, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you would still get advantage because of the owl's keen senses.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. So your owl over here, over here is the seemingly mid conversation between three figures, two voices that are female, one much lower pitch and gravelly than, sorry, male. Two voices that are male, one female. Of the two voices that are male, one has like a low gravelly tone, which I won't imitate. I won't vocalize because I don't want to kill my voice. So the low voice male says, but my lord, we can't just let them sit there. And the female voice says, our scouts have reported that they have been operating for the past week non-stop, ferrying crates of supplies and equipment up and down the shaft. It's clear that they're stockpiling for some sort of offensive. And the normal sounding male voice says, and what have the mongers have to say about this? And the low gravelly voice says, they say that they are unaware of any entrances to the undercroft in this area, and they've said that they've sent investigators to ascertain the veracity of our complaints. And he says this with like derision, of our complaints, but so far
we've heard naught of them. And then the female voice says, if the mongers will not act, then we must. We cannot let the situation stand. And the normal sounding male voice says and what precisely do you propose, Drusilla? The last time we launched a frontal assault, we lost over 60 thralls. Do you suppose the next principality will lend us their thralls to counter our own problems? And the female voice says, no, I apologize, my lord. It's not what I meant. I just mean that we cannot let this hostile force stand in our backyard. And the deep, gravelly voice says, the next culling won't occur for another. So the next batch are not ready to be culled for at least another month, my lord. And there's like a thump, like someone slamming a hand on a table, and like an almost like a growl of frustration, and the growl is joined by almost many others in much more broken up voice. You can hear at least a dozen sources echoing the normal the Lord's growl, and the conversation continues on in a similar vein, with these two subordinates kind of like outlining some kind of situation at quote unquote a shaft, and some sort of force hostile to them that have encamped there, and they have been unable to dislodge this force.
I think at that point, if the conversation's going to go in, down that path, after hearing what he thinks would be the bulk of the conversation, he would stick to the shadows, and the owl would fly back to the room.
Sure, your owl gets back without seemingly drawing any adverse attention.
And I would relay, probably a lot of that I would relay it anyway as it's happening, but anything that I didn't have a chance to, I would relay it now.
I'll let you guys think about that. In the meantime, we'll jump back to Zara. Zara, are you there? Okay, excellent. So you arrive at the location that they have outlined. So Master Oren Dolman outlined to you after you've fetched your equipment and the seeming pouch with an endless rope in it, and you go through this like cellar of this building, and come out through the back into this. I don't know if you've seen like a city block with like a residential plaza in the middle at the rear of the buildings. Have you seen anything like that before?
Like they have in like Oblivion and shit like that?
Yeah, I guess so. So it's basically like a city block, like streets on all four sides, and then the buildings line the streets, and then in between the building there's like a shared community space, like in the center of the block.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, except strangely enough, all of the buildings facing this block lack windows, so lack this the four sides of this, so the backs of these buildings facing the street, facing this plaza, have no windows, or if there are windows, they've been bricked over, so there's no windows overlooking this plaza. And in the center of this plaza, seemingly half sunken into the ground, sticking out the top of it, in the center of it, is a ruined dome, with a partially collapsed section of the dome that almost looks like a cavernous door of some kind. The dome looks almost church-like in its design. Sticking to the shadow wise, can you roll me a stealth and a perception check? Excellent, you're right on the ball. Oh yeah, wow. So using your halfling roguish talent of sticking to the shadows and scouting out locations, you very carefully survey the positions from behind rocks, behind pillars, behind bushes. Within 5 or 10 minutes of going crawling all over the place, you quickly ascertain that the place is entirely silent. There's obvious signs that this place has been heavily trafficked in the recent past, but currently it seems completely unoccupied. Like there's no sounds of any people on guard breathing. The place is empty. Has that echoey, cavernous sound of an empty building.
Come here.
What do you do?
Well, she's gonna do what any well-competent-minded rogue of any sort would do, and she's gonna kind of move about, still on the lookout, because when it's quiet, it's too quiet. She's going to ready her hand crossbows and kind of make her way to the aforementioned hole that she's supposed to secure rope at, and just kind of secure the area before getting to her handiwork of rigging a line as instructed.
Okay, so you head in through this aperture in the dome, and immediately inside it is almost like an amphitheater, almost looking like thing, like tiers of seats heading down to the circular dais, sunken into the center of this dome. At the far end of it, they're almost like where the football teams come out of in a stadium. There's like a passageway leading into the stairs, like underneath the stairs, and through that you can see a set of rubble cast staircases leading down to some other form of passageway. You carefully survey the situation in the dome and find no signs of occupancy, although there are several what seems to be at least a dozen or 2 dozen long burnt out and extinguished campfires and various detritus that would indicate to you that a large contingent of humans or humanoids were here recently in the past, at least past few days or so. However, at this current signs, you see no signs of them. You carefully make your way down into the passageway to where you were told the hole would be, ducking from shadows to shadows, from pillar to pillar. You find the hole completely undefended, and the hole is massive. It's not 40 feet wide. It's at least 60 feet wide. And when you glance over the edge, you see like broken pipe fittings. There's a couple of them that still pour a little bit of trickle of water down into this hole. Even with your... Actually, you don't have dark vision, do you?
I do not, but I do have a bullseye lantern.
Okay, so going off your bullseye lantern cannot light the bottom. You immediately notice one thing, however. Seemingly, you may not need the rope, because suspended off the north side of this hole, in a rigged up construction, is a sturdy looking cargo lift made out of wooden planks and stout, thick, like cables of rope, hempen rope tied to a big, like turning wheel. The lift looks wide enough to load small wagons onto, sans the horses. 10 people could ride on this thing easily, and the rope, the big wheel of cabled rope that this lift is attached to, seems big enough to possibly be like 300 feet long, maybe more. The lift is up, and it does not seem guarded. Like there's no one manning it.
All right. Would this perception roll carry over, or should I re-roll it? What I want to
I'll let it carry over.
Oh, excellent. Okay. What I want to do is, if I'm able to ascertain that there have been like, groups in and out in the past couple of days, would I be able to look for, I guess for lack of a better word, like tracks leading to this lift or anywhere around that area to see if there's been actual foot traffic here and there, or if they kind of divert elsewhere?
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that would be a survival check in order for you to determine information based off tracks.
Damn it, cats.
Okay. So, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Well, you don't actually know what rockets are. Nor scientists, probably. But no, it doesn't take a genius to denote that they're at least, like, they're muddled because just walking over each other, they obliterate. But at least 20 sets of tracks lead to the lift, the cargo lift. You can't quite tell if there are any sets of footprints that lead out from the cargo lift, so as if something coming back up. But at least 20 sets of prints have gone to the cargo lift. And I'll let you deduce whatever information of that on your own. As well as like wheel tracks. And there are signs of various places where containers such as crates or boxes or some such have been stacked along the walls but are no longer there. You find a crowbar sitting in a forgotten corner somewhere.
The infamous crowbar.
Seraphina is going to take note of the crowbar. And knowing her, she would pocket it.
It's to be clarification, not that it makes much of a mechanical difference. It's more of a pry bar meant to open crates than it is a crowbar meant to open doors or, rock falls, whatever.
That is very helpful information. Thank you for that. Seraphina's going to kind of walk around the lift area with her crossbows out, ready to shoot anything on sight before trying to figure out, with the use of this nifty new pry bar, how to rig up a trap before deciding whether or not she wants to descend down or stay up and guard it.
So you put the pry bar down on the ground with the hook side facing up, and then you lay a little stone down on the shaft of the pry bar, and then you put a piece of plank over the side that's tipped up, so when someone steps on the plank, the pry bar shoots upwards like a broom, like a hoe, and whacks them in the face. No, I'm just kidding.
That was a very elaborate plan.
By the way, how many of you? I know this is a kind of a thing that people show, but how many of you have actually stood on a rake or something and had it
Oh, I
whack
have.
you?
Whacked me right in the junk.
Yeah, 3 times just today.
No, it's just
Unpleasant.
you're getting old and you can't
Yeah,
control
I've
your
had that happen as well. It's much more common than you think it is.
I did it with a rake.
Apparently, it's more common with guys.
Yeah, probably.
We are dumber.
So yeah, you don't find any signs of human activity or humanoid activity at all. The entire place seems utterly abandoned. The lift swings gently from side to side through idle movement, or just your faint disturbance when you brush near it or something. But it does seem fairly sturdy. You could load, like I said, you could load a fully laden small wagon of some sort onto this thing, or 10 people. It seems to be operated by 2 cranks or 2 levers, one of which is attached to some sort of counterweight system that pulls this thing up, and then another one is a separate counterweight that drops this thing from that prevents this thing from like dropping all the way to the bottom at terminal velocity. It's fairly well engineered, as well as anything that someone might makeshiftly construct on site.
All right. With the rope, although there's like, I know that there's no seemingly end to this rope, would Seraphina be able to cut off or section pieces of said rope?
In fact, when you try to do so, like you experiment and you try to do so, when you sever the rope from the bag, the end that is severed quickly begins to unravel and crumples into dust after about a minute. But it doesn't seem to harm the bag or the rope in the bag at all. Like you could just extrude another however long distance you wanted.
Sounds like yours.
All right. So Seraphina is going to guard the hole for a little while, just because of the apparent foot traffic here and there. Just a little worried about descending down and leaving the area open for attack or whatever. So for the entrance that she came in through the passageway, she's going to rig up a trap and utilize the length of the rope.
Okay, excellent.
Well, I know.
All right, roll me a. I think it would be a thieves' tool check for you to set up some sort of a trap. I'm going to say that you probably use some sort of like rope to rig up a tripping mechanism, and then like lever like a rock in a precarious place so that it would fall or swing down and hit someone. Okay, so an 11. Fantastic. Actually, no, that's your survival check. So thieves' tools would just be sleight of hand. Okay, excellent. So yeah, you set up a hell of a trap.
So it's she has ball bearings. She's gonna set them down in the just kind of in a little mass in front of the entrance, so that whoever walks in would slip on them. And she's going to secure the rope in like a tripwire fashion, the working end of it into the wall, and then she's going to wrap it around a rock, like the stalactite, whatever the ones that come up from the ground. Basically, she's gonna wrap it around that, take the bag with her, and move back to her position by the lift, and just kind of camp out there. And she's going to hold the bag, so they would trip over the rope coming in and the ball bearing, so they would make a lot of noise if they were to, come in. And she would hook it up in a way so that she, like a slip knot fashion, so once the trap was triggered, she'd be able to pull the working end back into the bag or have it retract into the bag, however the magic of that worked.
Okay. All right, fantastic. All right, so you remain in place for a while, deciding to kind of like survey the situation for at least a little bit of time before deciding what your next course of action is. I'm going to switch back to the team at hand. So as Milo, you report what you overheard of this conversation across the street in this bar, seemingly between some sort of lord of some kind and his 2 subordinates, as well as a number of maybe spawn, maybe something else. You're not entirely sure. What are you guys doing?
So is this dragon?
Well, if I'm assuming Milo has shared his information.
The Halloween skin.
I think he's AFK, but we'll I think it's safe to assume that he would have told you guys everything that he saw and heard.
I would suggest that we try to sneak by these people. We've come this far, we're this close to coming out, and I don't want to become spawn shit. and they seem to have access to quite a few people. If we could just sneak by and get out of here.
Well, I mean, you've just got this whole naked thing going on. with
I'm
your
all up
character,
for
so
sneaking by, but with Arthur's armor, it's going to be really hard.
I think it just fits with the thing.
This is true. Well,
That should be more than enough. I think there's only like 5 or 6.
if we had a way to distract them inside, maybe we could clatter by with them more focused on what's inside than what's going on outside.
I'll wait for Milo to get back. Arthur, do you have anything to add to this?
He's not so much in for strategy at this point because he's in he doesn't feel comfortable underground in the dark really,
On the other
so
side
he doesn't know what he's doing.
That makes 2 of us.
His plan right now is if he sees something within hitting distance to hit it.
I feel like I'm gonna get there after.
Since when did he get hit by a ray of feeble mind?
I think it's probably just he's been in the dark too long.
Yeah.
He needs sunlight to stay sane.
Uh-huh.
I can do that.
Speaking of sunlight, I'll wait for Milo to get back.
That's hilarious. Well, we don't know which direction the tunnel or where we need to go to next, though.
Working out on your map, this area is still on the map section. If you're reading the map correctly, whoever is reading the map, by the way. Who is reading the map, by the way?
It's probably Arthur.
Whoever's good with it.
Okay. So if you're reading the map correctly, the most direct route to the section that you want to get to is through a cellar. The notation on here says that the cellar, one of the walls of the cellar in the building across the street in this direction, collapses out onto a underground storm drain, an ancient storm drain, which continues running south for another 300 feet before it leads to an access ladder that leads up to a side street.
Is there a door on the north side of the building, then, that we can go through?
On this building,
Yeah, is there another door or another window we can sneak through?
there are sets of windows seemingly shattered on the north side of this building. A couple of them are intact, but most of them are shattered.
What's
The door itself is closed.
Well, since Milo's not here right now, can we go ahead and
He
send
is
his...
here.
Oh, he is here now?
I'm back. Sorry, I used the restroom.
Okay, no worries. So, we skip back to you guys. I assume you explained the conversation you overheard.
Blast might damage roll.
Yes.
Do you have anything else to add to their current plan is to sneak around this this group in the bar and the old tavern and just continue on the way, attempting not to get spotted?
Oh, okay, that's the plan. I think that my owl got spotted. We're gonna have to be very careful. I don't know what we can do with Arthur.
Well, Arthur, since you missed it while you're bioing, he said that he needs his plan at the moment is if something goes close to him, he hits it because he needs sunlight to recuperate. And I said, speaking of sunlight, so the door across the street opens. This door, by the way, not this door. This door. This door opens. Quite like, not like gingerly, not stealthily. It just swings open. Both doors swing open. it's left and right door swing open like the old saloon. And in through the middle, I would say steps, but okay, no. In the middle passes through a clearly female-looking human, dressed in some sort of robe, with an armored like leather attire. The robe drifts all the way down to the ground, covering her feet, so that you cannot see the tips of her feet. And I say seemingly steps because it doesn't appear that she's walking. She almost has this motion of just almost skating across the ground or drifting across the ground. And this person is wearing, like I said, she's wearing this white robe with this bronze / golden leather looking cuirass, and like almost like a like one of those Roman style gladiator skirt. Upon her head is a crescent. Sorry, not a crescent. What are they called? Circlet.
Circlets.
Yeah, is a circlet that ties her long. What color are they? Let me look that. Notes. Yeah. Okay. So her long red hair, shot through with streaks of maybe silver or gold. It's difficult to tell from this direction. And she kind of like. Okay, no. So the most noticeable feature that catches your eye as you guys glance around, peer past whatever obstruction you're hiding behind, is her glowing golden eyes. Her eyes blaze with light from even across the cavern. She turns her gaze left and then right, and her gaze seemingly locks on the tavern across the street, and she begins to drift over towards that direction.
If they did the physics right.
In fact, I'll throw a token down. Not that I really need to, because this is most of this is theater of the mind. Because I don't think you guys intend on attacking these people in the bar, right?
Not when we heard
I
that there
believe
was
we-
more than 12 people in there.
We just want a
Yeah.
GTFO.
Okay, so this person, by the way, in addition to dressing in this robe and this bronze cuirass, this bronze-colored leather cuirass, atop the top, like overlaying their clothing, you see the telltale signs of. Milo, you immediately recognize what this is, although this is a lot more fancy than, it's a lot more ostentatious and blatant than what you're used to. But this is mage armor. There's these like golden panes of almost like translucent armor overlaid over her clothes. And she drifts towards the double set of doors. At which point a figure, like seemingly noticing her approach, slams open the door, and you guys see like it goes to slam open. It's like partially through the process of slamming open the door, you guys see like one of those, the ones that have that jerky quickness of the spawn that dragged Thalia across the ceiling when you guys are in the smugglers' caves. But before it manages to make its, to leap to its attack, this figure throws her hand forwards, and an explosion erupts when a flicker of light strikes this creature in the door, and it detonates in this giant fireball that shakes the cavern, sending stones and chunks of rock falling from the cavernous ceiling. The door blows inwards, and this flame completely engulfs this figure. And when the the flames curl up onto the ceiling, you guys see that the doorway is ablaze on fire. The figure is gone, seemingly gone inside, and then there's like shouts and shrieks of like inhuman shrieking from the sounds of spawn, as well as shouts of command and surprise. And then there's sounds of like combat, of jets of like arcane blasts of magic, and then detonations that blow out windows and in huge gouts of flame. And the place quickly catches on fire with these multiple detonations and just like sounds of mayhem going on inside. At one point, one of these side windows to the north. Yeah, this might be a good time to get the fuck out. But yeah, at one, by the way, you guys can tell me that you're getting the fuck out throughout any of this. You can, I'll explain this entire thing, and then you can tell me at which point you decide to get the fuck out. But at some point,
that seems to be the best time when she's busy blowing up dudes with fireballs.
okay.
I think after the second explosion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think by the second explosion, we're all like, crap, and then trying to gather our gear and running toward the other door.
Okay. Roll me a stealth check, and I'll give all of you advantage.
Are we trying to be stealthy or not?
Okay.
Oh,
If you're
yeah.
not trying to be stealthy, then that's fine.
Oh, you got a bunch of that meat.
You can throw fireballs. I don't want her to know I'm here.
Yeah, she's not necessarily our friend. So, with advantage, it would be 19, right?
Yeah, correct. So yeah, you guys easily skedaddle across the road while this mayhem is going on, and like you can hear behind you as you're passing through the building, this building, just absolute mayhem and explosions, and then these high-pitched whines of some kind of arcane discharge. At one point, inside this building you're in, a lance of pure light, like a foot wide, just punches straight through one of the retaining walls right beside you, and carves like a line of charred wall, about 3 feet along the ceiling, before the rest of the wall blocks whatever the fuck that was. Yeah, and you guys quickly make your way deeper into the building. However, before you get to the cellar, you hear from ahead of you, the direction you're going, the sounds of like effort, like grunting, and footfalls, and shuffling, and the sounds of equipment like being banged against knees or against the walls or whatever. What do you guys do?
Is it in the direction that we're heading to?
Yeah, it seems to be coming from the cellar that you guys are headed into.
Well, we have to go that way, right, guys? We have to go through that cellar?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Is there anywhere for us to tuck into real quick?
Yeah, there's plenty of rooms. There's like a staircase going up. There's a couple of side rooms immediately from where you guys are at. Where do you guys decide to go?
Just somewhere where no one's going to walk past us in a main hallway. I guess just a side room. And then Arthur he'll say, should we tuck into a room and then send your owl up to see what that is? To Milo.
Oh, yes, he will. We'll send him up.
Oh, yeah, so I guess we'll all just tuck in then.
Alright, so you guys all find a nearby room of some kind to jump into, kind of like staying out of sight, hiding in the dark. You extinguish any light sources that you have. And soon enough, you guys hear the sounds of perhaps, you don't look do any of you look, or are you trying to stay out of sight as much as possible?
I think that'd be better.
I think stay out of sight.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
you
what
guys
I would be doing.
hear about at least a dozen sets of footfalls pass by the corridor on the outside. The sounds of like equipment clanking, like metal crates being carried between two people, the jingle of armor and hilted saber. Sorry, man, I can't even. I get
Sheath?
holstered sheathed sabers. The sounds of rifle slings jingling, and then leading up the rear, you guys hear this sound that you've never heard before. These heavy, much heavier than Arthur's plate armored boots, thumping against the ground in a metronomic pattern, almost like on the dot, with each thumping footfall followed by a discharging hissing sound.
It's Diva.
Yeah, and this thing follows up this train of people and out the front door, where the sounds of mayhem are starting to die down, and all you hear is the crackling roar of a large fire
Despawn just as we were about to land.
faintly in the distance. What are you guys doing now?
But we can just use all the RGs and have them trail behind us as like pack RGs. And
Guess we're gonna wait on the owl.
Yeah, what does he see?
Where is your owl?
Sending him up the hall unless he ran into a door.
No, there's no door. Oh wow, the door is open, rather.
Yeah, I would send him up within 100 feet, and then just to check if it's clear.
So down the passageway into the cellar, through the fallen out wall, into the storm drain?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he heads down that way ahead of you guys up to 120 feet and reports that there is no signs of anyone in the storm drain.
Repeat that back to my group.
Arthur will say, keep the owl ahead of us as far as he can go, and then we should continue out carefully after about 30 seconds after they stop walking by.
Yeah, I'll keep him going until there is a divergence in the path. So if it's just straightforward, he'll remain around 100 feet from the group, and then if there's the path splits, then we'll have to make a decision from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's kind of like password.
yeah, so you guys continue throughout the storm drain. You get out up these laddered rungs. Fucking hell. This ladder that leads up onto a side alley, near the edge of your map, of the map section of. But however, you're not far from where you think the shaft, the well, the abandoned cathedral is. You can tell just by the signs of disturbance, just scuff marks, boot prints, treads, and stuff, and by the fact that the hatch covering the ladder is opened, that those people that went past you came from this direction. I assume you go up the ladder and into the alley?
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's no other obvious way to go up, we would probably use that.
Okay. So yeah, you guys exit onto the alley. It's seemingly... yeah, there's no one in the alleyway besides you. And as you use your owl to scout around, doesn't appear that there's anyone here except for you. However, this is the edge of your mapped area on your the mapped area on your map. How do you choose to proceed on this from this point on?
How far up did we climb on this ladder?
Probably like 30 something feet.
Okay.
Like the storm drain itself is probably like 15 foot tall, and then there was like a section of like 15 foot where you were like just in a tube essentially.
And what are our options on ways to travel?
The alleyway, there's 3 exits. There's the alleyway attempts seemingly opens up onto a large like a plaza or a square of some kind. It's in a space of a large cavern. To the west there's like a set of double, like almost like loading dock doors that have been torn open. And then to the east there seems to be like the back of a building that has crumbled into a rubble pile, but you can clearly see through the rubble pile that there's like a corridor beyond it that proceeds deeper into the building.
And we still need to head south, right?
Yeah, you still need to head south.
Can we tell where those footprints or where they would have come from? Like if the mech suit thingy, and probably not a mech suit, probably a construct of some sort, left like a track or anything?
It's clear. It's obvious. Through the western loading dock doors that have been torn open. In fact, you can see whatever the thing uses for manipulators. Like it kind of just punched its fingers through the corrugated iron and then tore it open like a tin can.
Sheesh.
Arthur will suggest that way is probably safest and probably a way out. It might not be the way out, or the way out we were intending.
A way out's a way out.
Hey, let's get the fuck out of here.
We could encounter more of whatever that heavy movement thing was, though. And they may not be friendly.
Can we tell from the tracks and whatnot how fast this is going?
Survival check. And if someone wants to assist you, I'll give you advantage.
Arthur will give him magic assistance, not searchy assistance. Well, I guess if it's survival, he'll give him assistance as well.
So between the two of you, you figure that this thing, you're not sure if it has a top speed. So if it can dash, like you're not sure if it was traveling at its normal pace or if it was traveling at a hurried pace, but it looks like it's going about like 20 feet or so every round.
No
But it
telling
looks-
how fast that thing can go. If it's not that fast, we might be able to outrun it.
It looks
Unless it has
heavy.
guns.
It looks heavy. Like you can tell by the displacement alone that this thing must weigh upward to a ton.
Psst, psst, psst.
Where's an immovable rod when you need it?
Its rough dimensions is a large creature.
So basically, we would hear this thing coming.
It was pretty loud back in the hallway, yeah.
Yeah, so are we going to go that way or south? What do you guys think?
So if we go towards this thing, it could, it's clearing a way for us. Who knows what I don't understand what it's going towards. If we go south, it's into the unknown. I got that right?
So from your understanding, it's not going towards anything. Like no, so it's not. It's already past you. So you're going the way it came from. You've already
Okay.
passed it. It went past you.
Got ya. Hmm.
200 in there.
Unless there are more of them.
Where there's one, there could be more. I gotta say, I am intrigued to find out more about it. Especially if it's not there.
Yeah, so you guys really have three choices, although really two choices. You can blindly go south, because that's the direction where you think the cathedral is, or you can follow the trail of destruction that heads towards the west.
Did anybody else just?
You can see beyond it, by the way, that like the front of like the loading dock door has been torn open, and then like you see to like the front of the building of whatever this loading dock door belongs to, that like the doorway of average sized doorway is just like there's like a chunk ripped out of the wall in the shape of a large creature.
Is this Kool-Aid Man?
Do either Thalia or Obi have any ideas about which way?
She's either way is fine with her. If if they brought something that heavy down, the best bet would be to follow the destruction. But if we need to go south, we need to go south.
Well, south could be a dead end. This way could be a kind of a snaky route to go where we need to go.
Okay, there's 500 metal in this mission.
I'd suggest we do not go south, because who knows? On the map, is this, like, I know we're off the map, but like the last part of the map, we could see what color was it.
We just went through yellow, right?
Yeah, we like, I know that we're off the map color code, but like,
Yellow.
I didn't know
Yeah,
if we
you
were
were in
in
yellow zone.
Okay, yeah, so this is still pretty shitty. I would suggest follow Clanky McClankerson.
All right, then that's what we'll do.
Right. So yeah, you don't need to do any more rolls, because it's like a blind person could follow the trail of destruction. Areas where there were obstructions, like rock falls, etc., something has just pushed its way through them. Areas where there were like obstructions, like for example the loading dock door, something has just put its maws through them and then tore them open. And in areas where like the doorway wasn't big enough, something has just like kind of crumpled, squeezed its way through it and made it fall down.
Milo, do you think you could make one of those? Because that would be super handy.
Oh, that's easy. Actually, I have no idea.
And all along the way, there's obvious sets of footprints following or walking ahead of this thing. Tracks that lead all the way west and then start swinging south and goes through like some chinks in the like the map, like around corners, through S-ways, through between buildings and stuff. As you get pretty close to where you think the cathedral's hole would be, you come across a scene in a narrow looking crevice, seemingly not off like the undercroft at all. It just seems like natural tunnels, but the scene is a scene of utter destruction. There seems to have been some sort of pitched battle in this place. There's the desiccated bodies of spawn, the spawn that you've seen. Like when they die, their body starts to decompose really fast to the age that their body would have been if they had died naturally. So you count at least 40 or 50 corpses in various conditions, all seemingly spawn looking like half naked. Most of them have huge, like I'm talking about like watermelon softball sized holes blasted out of their bodies, like just big chunks missing out of their body. Most of them are like missing the upper half of their torso, their upper half just blasted to whatever. Further along the end of this crevice, the ground is just littered in shell casings, shell casings slightly bigger than the caliber of your rhino, not rhino. What's the name of your big boy again, Obi?
Hyena rifle.
What is your largest caliber rifle? I think it is the Rhino revolver, isn't
It's
it?
the hyena. Well, I'm not.
Oh, no, it is the hyena rifle. Yeah. So
I'm gonna pick up a few of the empty shell casings.
yeah, so you can put your thumb directly into the crevice of this shell casing. That's how big they are.
So either this was an extremely long battle, or something can shoot really fast.
These
You
are
find-
interesting.
You find at least 300 shell casings.
I'm gonna take a dozen.
Most of them are like smaller caliber, like your rifle or pistol ammunition, but there are at least 100 or 200 of these large shell casings. Of particular note, at one point, so at the end of this, around where all these shell casings are, you can clearly see a dismantled barricade of sandbags and wooden, not spikes. What are they called?
Palisades.
The ones that are facing out. I forget what they're called. We used to call them punji sticks, but it's not really. Basically, it's a barricade of sharpened sticks facing outwards towards the enemy. A few of them have dead spawn impaled upon the ones that got close enough.
Like The Walking Dead.
Kind of, yeah. But of note that you find is along the western side wall of this crevice is a seeming lack of bodies. There is no spawn along the western wall of this crevice. There is, however, a giant fucking scorch mark, and I'm talking giant fucking scorch mark. I'm talking half semicircular, 10 feet tall, running about 5 feet into the side of the crevice from the wall. Just a scorch mark that runs down the entire length of it, going about 90 feet, where the rock itself has been slagged, the rock itself has melted. And at the barricade, at the tip of this slagged mess along the western wall, is a twisted piece of metal. If you were to straighten it out, it would probably be like 5 or 6 feet long. At the moment, it looks unrecognizable. It just looks like a piece of twisted and warped metal, like a stick, like a long metal rod, or a staff that has kind of like melted and twisted it upon itself until it resembles like a tumbleweed almost.
Modern art?
Milo's just staring at the destruction and practically foaming at the mouth.
After I've picked up my dozen giant shells, I'm looking for the way out of here.
Okay. The way out of there is clear. Beyond the barricade opens up to a large chamber with a small pool, about 15 feet wide against the southeastern wall. When you look up, there is a shaft, 40, 50 feet wide, that just runs almost straight up.
I'm gonna grumble thinking about how much it's gonna suck to climb up this thing.
There are seemingly four giant cabled ropes that sit against the northern wall. As you guys come in from like the northwestern direction, and then beside the giant cables, there's like these turn wheels with levers on them, and there are what appears to be the remains of a broken up camp in this cavernous space.
I'm
Can I,
going to
Look around.
investigate.
Yeah, I'm gonna investigate as well. See
I'll
if
help
there's
him
anything
out.
worthwhile.
Okay.
How big was the hole going up?
about 40, 50 feet wide.
Arthur's going to, while they're looking around, thaumaturgy, and then cupping his hands around his mouth, whistle up the hole.
Okay, Zyra, roll me a perception check.
Thank goodness for the assist.
Have a good night.
I guess she's not here at the moment.
It is a potato. Please bear with me.
Oh, okay. So what specifically? You're just searching around the campsite, right?
Anything of value.
Okay.
And I guess anything mechanical that might interest myself or Milo.
Okay. You find in the dust, in the ashes of one of the campfires, seemingly lost, as if someone lost there, a single kismet coin, triangular in shape, circular opening in the center. No, square opening in the center. Sorry.
I'll pick it up and hand it to Arthur and go, for your collection.
Oh, sorry, Jesus!
Just found a 140.
You've rolled 2 natural 20 perception checks today. Yeah. You hear this faint sound of someone whistling from deep inside the shaft, Zara. And it's like an attention-getting whistle. It's not a humming a tune whistle.
All right. Well,
Holy shit, there's a golem.
I guess
Just walking around.
Seraphina's going to stop like watching the entrance
Actually, this
with ready crossbows and kind of affix the pouch to her belt, so it'll move with her as she goes to the lift and starts lowering the lift down into the hole.
Okay. Roll me an investigation check to understand how to operate the lift. There we go.
Wow.
So you throw a lever, like you throw a lever and nothing happens, and you're like, oh, this must be the wrong one. Oh, there's 2 more levers, and then like you throw another lever, but it seems to be stuck, so you put a bit of weight behind it, and all of a sudden the lift beneath you just drops out, and you begin to fall with it, as it begins to, like, at an alarming speed, begin to pick up speed as it drops into this shaft. Can you roll a dex save in order to try and recover, to throw this lever back?
So as the chains, we can see the chains, right?
You can see all of a sudden, one of the coil wheels beside you start to spin, and it starts to pick up speed, like more speed than it should be, because you can actually see the like smoke coming off the reel as the ropes are being fed through the thing.
Arthur will say, "We may want to move and prepare yourselves."
Oh yeah, I find a place to hide and pull out my gun.
All right, so you guys hear from above you this like crank chunk, and then like the wheelhouse beside you at the bottom of the shaft like leaps in its mountings but manages to stay intact, as the rope coil suddenly comes to like a sudden stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zara, you managed to throw the
Yeah, it's just under 2 feet.
throw the lever back. Yeah, you know, your face momentarily touched the floor of the lift, but you find yourself standing again on this lift. It's probably the 3rd lever that throws the counterweight properly instead of just dropping the lift.
I'm gonna send my owl up to this new interloper.
This thing's
Okay,
fast.
yeah, your owl travels up about 120 feet. About 30 feet up, you can see a lift dangling from these coiled ropes, running through these coiled ropes. Upon it sits a. Describe yourself, sire.
There's a small halfling outfitted in studded armor with black hair. Looks to be about maybe 2'4", 2'5" on a good day. Who looks both bewildered and concerned.
So she is about 30 or so feet higher than what I can see through the owl's eyes anyway.
Yeah, she's about 150 feet up from you.
Okay, I land the owl right on the edge of, like, I'm imagining this is like a bucket or something she's in. There's probably like a little railing. He just lands on
Think
that.
of it as an oversized window washer's tray or trolley or whatever they call it.
Yep. He would sit on one of the railings on that and just stare at her.
So a fairly large, relatively speaking, owl flies up and lands on the lift railings and just looks at you with disapproval, with judgment. So, what are you doing, Zara? What are you doing, Seraphine? I mean.
Wow. There is a bit too concerned with what just happened with the lift, but she's going to lazily fire off a warning shot at the owl because I would imagine this owl is much larger than herself.
It's
7 foot tall.
no, it's a significant portion of your body weight. Yeah, it's not bigger than you, but like it's big enough that like it would be of some concern if it was trying to pick you up and fly off of you. Yeah, she fires a warning shot, I guess. Not I'm assuming not at the owl, right? Just like over its shoulder or whatever.
Right. She's not very smart, so she's just like, you know what? Maybe if I just kind of shoot at it, and not try to hit it, so I can deal with this issue first. It'll like be frightened and like fly away or go somewhere else. But she is smart enough to discern that it's not a natural like owl that was just kind of living in there.
Because owls totally live underground. What are you talking about?
Sure.
Okay. So I think throughout the shenanigans, you eventually get the lift to the bottom, and down, like I described, it appears to be some sort of cavernous space, like 100 feet wide, in terms of diameter, with a shallow pool of water gathering in the southeastern corner, with a northwestern entrance, ravine of some kind, and down at the bottom awaits 4 figures, a gnome, a half-elf, and 2 humans. One dressed in, like it's even though it's covered by some sort of like a robe of some kind, or a cloak of some kind, it's clearly armor, substantial armor, and the other one with a rifle slung across the back. Actually, no, you don't have the rifle slung across the back.
I am wearing the ballistic mask.
Right, so wearing like a mask that you would see someone these days robbing a bank, and sporting crisscross ammo belts across the front of his slightly portly build.
Just slightly, and is overweight.
Is these 4 figures.
The half elf asked, "Did Dolman send you?"
She's gonna offer a thumbs up.
Oh shit! It just hit one of those big elephant-looking things.
That's awesome. Let's go then.
Yeah,
Well, you wanted to search, right?
Yeah.
I'm just thrilled that we don't have to climb up. I'm just gonna get in the lift and kind of sit down.
As well as Kismet coin, near the barricade, seemingly missed or forgotten or something. You guys find a small like case. I would call it a chest, but it's not really a chest. It's more like a footlocker or a case. And inside of it contains a healer's kit, just various medical supplies. But of note, you find a vial that's labeled holy water, and another vial that's labeled antitoxin, and then another vial that's labeled what was it? Elixir of health, I think it's called. Yeah, elixir of health.
Guys, I just had a
That's
fantastic
yep.
idea.
That's going into the bag of holding. Definitely.
I'm gonna ask if you don't mind. Can I hold on to the holy water?
You can have anything from there. It doesn't bother me.
We
I'll take
have
the
a
thing of
priest right here, and you want a vial of holy water?
Yes, because I think it's not the same like we think of holy water. It's just blessed water. They have to do actually like something to it, right, Kev?
It's a
It does.
spell.
The DMG I think states like anybody that's like a 6th level or higher cleric can spend up to 1 hour or something consecrating water at like the same price as a potion or something to be holy water.
It's actually cheap. You need 25 gold worth of silver dust, in order to make a single single holy water vial, and it takes an hour. And I think it doesn't. You don't even have to be a level 6 cleric. Like a level 1 cleric can do it.
Maybe, I don't know.
Anyways, I'm gonna take the holy water.
Okay.
Vally's
So, yeah,
kind of stunned, but okay.
Of extra note, you do see, Zara, that the portly gentleman with the ammo belts crisscrossed in front of his chest is wearing a vest or a shirt on the front that says "I dig halflings."
What? Oh, do I even notice I'm wearing this shirt?
I'm not sure. I mean, you're fairly perceptive, so I think after the second odd look, you would probably notice it. Yeah.
Glares at Milo.
You know what? I would just say I don't even care while I'm plopping down on the lift. I just want to get the fuck out of here.
All right. So yeah,
Milo's just staring at this new person, and his face is turning red.
Oh god, it's 1:15.
But that's right. He has a thing for halflings, doesn't he?
I think his late wife was a halfling.
Yeah, I don't. If I know that, I would kind of just like look at him and say, "I believe you're the one that should be wearing the shirt."
How old does this new person look?
She looks to be in her earlier mid-20s.
She's gonna nudge Milo and just whisper, "Cradle robber."
Milo giggles and nudges you back.
So yeah, the lift is fairly easy to operate now that you've figured it out. It does actually take you significantly longer getting back up than it did taking going down. Like going down, like you got down halfway in like a few seconds. Takes you at least 5 to 10 minutes to get back up to the top. But yeah, you guys arrive back at a familiar looking location, although it's obviously been significantly changed to the installation of this lift. But it is, in fact, the seemingly forgotten cathedral. What are your guys' plans now?
Didn't they jump down there last time we were here? Didn't they drink something and then literally jump down that hole?
Yeah, that's what they were doing last time.
Crazy bastards. I need to go home, see my dog, and take a shower. In that order.
Yeah, we're heading toward the observatory. Definitely.
What time of day is it?
It is morning.
Yeah, let's book it.
Okay.
We're almost home. Let's just take this moment and just book it.
In fact, it's quite heartfelt as you leave the cathedral.
you see the first rays of the dawn light strike upon the horizon.
Enough to charge my what's it?
Yes.
So all of you who have equipment or abilities that operate off the light of the dawn, you get that back. So yeah, are you guys being particularly surreptitious about your beat feet back to the
I would
observatory,
actually
or
use a covered wagon.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a ride.
I don't. Now that we know that the Silvermongers are not whom we thought they were, I don't want them to see me right now.
okay? All right, so yeah, using a covered wagon, you guys get back to the observatory. You'll arrive shortly, just probably like just before 7 a.m. Place seems fairly quiet. You five now with your new halfling friend pay the wagon. I think it'd be like 3 electrum from where you were going.
I will gladly pay that.
Okay.
Am I still wearing my shirt?
I think it's run out by now.
I think he would, after the initial chuckle, he would dispel it.
I think it only lasts for a minute, so. Yeah, so as you head inside, the place seems fairly quiet. You can hear, obviously, sounds of someone in the kitchen doing something, and one of the fireplaces is lit. You see Fitzgerald in Dolman's office going over something, some sort of parchment or book or something. He looks up and there's a look of relief / worry, and he says, oh, good. Master Ullman, Oren Dolman, Oren Dolman. Sorry, Dolman will be glad to see you guys. I believe he said he was in the library. He wants to see you and
We'll head there. Thank you.
yeah.
I'll let out a loud whistle.
Yeah. You hear thumping and scampering as something thunders down the staircase. And your dog attempts to tackle you.
Nose down, and then I'll just kind of like pet him and I guess head into the library petting him.
Yeah. You enter the library, and you see that in the far alcove. So I don't have the map completely updated yet, but I'll display it to you regardless. So in this, let me get rid of some of these people that are not in the room. Not what I meant to do.
Hey, Kev, how many charges does the cube or the cure wounds orb have?
10.
Okay, because it did something weird where everything now doesn't have charges, and they changed all of the charges to the amount of that item that you have instead of charges.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah. So, yeah, you guys enter the office and you see Dolman seemingly in conversation of Archivist Morgan. Archivist Morgan and Dolman appear to be facing away from you, and they appear to be examining something on the table in front of them. Dolman's not really speaking, but Archivist Morgan is murmuring in a low tone from where you can hear them from as you enter the library.
Reach in my satchel and pull out the butcher's foot and plop it down on the table in front of him and say, "This is what's left of the butcher."
Okay, so I assume you guys are all coming in together, right?
Yes.
And Milo's gonna sit down at one of the chairs at the table.
We'd should probably on our way in. We'd probably all steal a chair just so we could sit around the area.
Okay. Would everyone like to roll me a
Yeah,
perception
notice
check?
that, and it also does a debuff on enemy units.
Apparently, my perception is 6 all day today.
Let me ask you a question. How many of you are carrying your pocket watches?
Oh, you look for one of those?
Thalia is.
Yeah, I have it on
I'm
me.
determined to
I'd have it in my coat pocket, like the little actual pocket you're supposed to put it in.
Oh no, wait a minute. Hers is in the bag. She never took it out of the bag because it's silver.
Okay.
I think Arthur, after they surfaced, would have taken all of his silver things out of the bag. So he has it on him.
So none of you notice anything. So never mind. So as you approach Archivist Morgan and as you approach Obi, you can tell that instead of like whatever she's murmuring, she seems to be like almost like sing-songy. It's less talking, but she's more like almost as if in midst of casting some sort of ritual spell or something like that. Arthur went AFK. That's okay. And as you approach and you open up your mouth to speak, Archivist Morgan turns around and interrupts you and says, "Ah, I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you're alive." And then she holds up a hand as if to gesture stop. And for those of you who have your pocket watches on your person, and that includes you, Zyra,
Oh yeah, this will only take.
could you roll me?
I've got 37. I can just
A
look at
wisdom
the-
saving throw with disadvantage. And those of you who do not have your pocket watches on you,
Yeah, it's
you can
fine
roll it
now.
without disadvantage.
I'm hoping to separate it.
I hate these new sheets. How can I roll with 2 dice?
It's back in the cog window again.
Yeah, click on the cog window and go to roll 2. Just never modify that setting because I'll use it as well.
So I need to make a wisdom saving throw?
Yes. And if you have your pocket watch on you, you're doing it at disadvantage.
Perfect. 7.
So I think
Okay.
Thalia
I
gets
got
the highest with a 16.
I got
So-
the big fat 12.
So all of you fail.
I'm re-rolling because I accidentally put it for advantage, so I'm going to re-roll it now that I set it to roll 2.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so Thalia has the highest with 16.
All right, so all of you fail, and you feel this sudden compulsion come over you, as if her words are the most important words being uttered throughout the multiverse. And she says to you, none of the events since since you found the butcher in his subterranean sewer ritual occurred the way you think it did. You did not find Aelin Dolores trapped in a cage. You did not see her transform into a spawn. You slew the butcher and then returned here afterwards and informed me of your deeds. You will not remember anything that happened while you were in the Undercroft. Shit, I forgot the last part.
One sec, Kev. Will that also include retrieving the things?
Yes, but she doesn't know that, so that's what the best
What
thing.
was
That's
the saving
fantastic.
throw?
That is so good. I still have it. She don't know I got it. It's gonna be real fucking confusing.
Uh, any effects of this corporation that you feel from your missing time, you will put off as artifacts of the ritual that the butcher was casting, who he failed to complete. And then she lets go of her hand, and you feel this clarity come before you, and you forget everything that happened.
Including Thalia? Hers wasn't on her. It was in the bag.
Yes, but you still failed the saving throw.
What was it?
Modify memory.
It's a more powerful version of a modified memory.
Wow.
Do I drop the foot when she's casting this?
No. You come to, and then you hand her the foot, and then you're like, oh, yeah, we killed the butcher, man. It was a fucking hard fight, but like, yeah, we finished him before he managed to complete his ritual. That's all in your head.
Next to something, I'm okay. Took out 2 of his carnos.
Well, I'm glad Thalia took notes.
Oh, Butcher's dead. I need a shower. We ran into some craziness, but I can't.
Arthur just walks out of the room and goes into where he keeps his armor and stuff.
Yeah. So I'll let you guys know this at some point. Like, I leave this entirely up to you. I'm not gonna force you to like role play, like not remembering any of this. But clearly, you guys almost immediately throughout the next few days come across discrepancies. Like for a matter of fact, you have in your possession, Obi, the parcel that Jade Battlestone tasked you into retrieving, although you have no memory at all retrieving this thing. It just appeared in your bag. Thalia, you find in the bag of holding a case of Kismet coins that you have no recollection picking up.
I think I actually have those.
Yeah, he has the Kismet coins. Thalia has books and documents and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
you
what
guys-
memories are?
You guys find a whole bunch of fucking shit in your inventories that you guys have no idea how they got there.
Also, we went down there specifically to save her, right? What was implanted that happened? Like, we just never found her or found out what happened to her. We just went down there and killed the butcher and left.
Yeah, you guys never found her.
Guys, I couldn't find my rifle, so I just emptied out my bag, and well, there's an eyeball. I don't know where I got this eyeball from, and
And your rifle's broken.
My rifle's been broken to hell, and I got this thing I've been meaning to get for my gunsmith, but that eyeball doesn't look right.
You think that's confusing? She pours out her bag and there's tons of books and papers and maps.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think we got to the ironworks, because like all the books, it's written in Elvish, right?
Yeah, in archaic Elvish, yeah.
And I'll show her the thing I have, and it's like, these kind of look together. I don't know what the hell this is, but I recognize that symbol.
Can I ask my familiar what happened?
Yes, he could.
Oh, I missed one part. She says to Dolman, you may return to your office. The events that I've described are what you recall of their subsequent report. And Dolman kind of has a blank look on his face as she lets go of her gesture. And he nods at her and just goes back to his office.
Oh, I don't like that.
Guys, did we get paid? I don't remember getting paid for the butcher. It was kind of a big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge deal. However, I'm more concerned with my memory.
This is why I stopped drinking. I didn't like forgetting things.
She's actually going to ask Obi and Arthur if there's a place we can go to regain memories.
I don't.
Or at least ask about memories.
How many days have elapsed before we kind of figure this out? Because even, well, you know, that I can.
I leave that entirely up to you guys.
'Cause I gotta fix my fucking gun, and I gotta get this. Ugh, I got a billion things to do. But I don't know if there's a place we can regain memories.
So,
I
so
mean,
2 days have passed then? That gives us time to rest and start cleaning up?
2 days seems good.
Sure, 2 days is fine.
Would I know of a place that? I mean, I don't know magic, but I know places in town that might offer services like that.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to your mind, and probably Arthur's mind as well, is the temple.
Yeah, I've been searching to see if I even have that spell, but I don't. It's 5th level.
Yeah, they like some of their higher services, like the most, fuck, I forgot her name.
Wait,
there's like a
we wouldn't even remember meeting Zyra then.
no, you remember, yeah, you don't remember, yeah, you don't remember meeting Zara.
I think this is yours, and I'll hand Arthur the vial of holy water.
So the events that happen immediately afterwards is, first of all, Dolman introduces you to Zyra, and introduces you to Serafina and says that this is your newest team member until we get a couple of more newcomers that we can form into an additional team. I expect you to, well, he's in his Dolman voice, so I expect you to run her through, show her the ropes and try not to get her killed. Frosty's team they've reported back and they're on their way back to town. They should be here in the next 3 days or so. So you'll have some slack to take some time off. I know your trip in the sewers was a little bit harrowing. From my understanding, you don't have to worry about Aylin. It sounds like she's fine. She managed to escape the butcher at some point.
Look.
Oh, yes, and on the butcher itself, fantastic work. It sounds to me like, from your description of his ritual, that he was attempting to, I don't know, make spawn or control spawn. I'm not entirely sure. The council mages aren't too clear.
I must have got hit in the head. It's all fuzzy.
Yeah. And he says, yes. As for payment, I don't know why. I can't recall what I was meant to pay you. Do you four remember?
Well, wasn't there a bounty? I mean, I don't know if we can prove it's him, but we have the foot.
It all seems so fuzzy. He complained.
Is this a couple days after or right after?
This is pretty much right after, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Before you guys find all this stuff in your inventories.
Hey, so Zyra would not remember having all the stuff on loan from the observatory.
No, she would not remember. Zyra, you find yourself having sets of armor and a small pouch with an endless rope inside it, and others various accoutrements on your person that you do not remember acquiring. You worry for a second that you may have started stealing unconsciously.
When they introduced us to Serafina, that's what we're saying it. I would like try to rack my memory and see if I recognize her just from working.
Yeah, she looks familiar, but you can't quite place where.
Write the name down. I'll go visit what's his name.
Yeah, you like it removes your memory, but subconsciously, like, you guys all have the feeling that, like, that deja vu moment where, like, it seems familiar, but you can't quite tell why.
Well, we've got a billion things to do, and now the next thing is go see.
That's hilarious. We wouldn't even remember having the magic books.
Yep.
Who has them? I think.
Milo has
Pop-
them.
Yeah.
You get a feeling, so out of character wise, so meta wise, you get a feeling that like this contingency wasn't that well thought out on the part of whoever she works for.
This is hilarious.
But-
I gotta know what we don't remember. This is hilarious.
Okay. Yeah, you've used the handles are for too long that I've started. You see, this is the reason why I never name any of my characters anything remotely similar to Kev. Because I don't want the situation where like people start calling my characters Kev instead of whatever they're called.
But yeah, after the meeting, I guess they'll figure out how much we're owed. I will go take a long bath.
He'll give you guys the equivalent in gold or silver if you wish to have it. The equivalent of 400 gold pieces each.
Okay.
And he says, well, yes, the butcher wasn't really in our purview, but what he was doing could have, sent up awkward questions in various quarters. It's good that you've put a stop to it nonetheless. Perhaps things on the docks will slowly get back to normal, and we won't have inspector's office and that sort running around all over the place barking orders at people, getting all disruptive.
Can I kind of tip off my friend at the department that the butcher's something not to worry, or should we just let it happen on its own?
What was that, sorry?
Should I tip off Belton that that we've killed the butcher, or should I just not, mention it and let the cops figure out that he stopped on his own?
We can send word through unofficial channels, if you know what I'm saying. You know, the rumor mill. I'd rather not you approach him and tell him outright that
I was simply going to hint it, but I'm not that.
even still.
Okay, that's fine. That's why. That's why I asked.
Yes. So I'll let you guys decide how much unconsciously, like, you don't recall the memories of which, but like you might unconsciously, for some reason, suddenly dislike Master Fielding for some reason. I'll let you guys sort out how much of that you want to bleed through on your own. But yeah, there's a lot of over the next couple. I think we'll skip forwards like a couple of days, and you guys we'll role play what you guys did during your downtime, or however. Actually, you know what? However long you guys want to take off, I'll let you know that the team cook arrives back tomorrow, and basically the grunt work. Apparently, their excursion has nothing to do with Spawn at all. Like, it was the work of bandits who were blaming it on orcs for some reason. But that's a long story.
I think Milo would want to take at least, I know we're talking 2, but at least 3 days off. He'd like to work on his spells, get some rest, get to know his new companion, and then also he's got business ventures that he's interested in at least starting to pursue.
I could write a whole list of stuff that I would like to do in the time off.
Yeah, but
I
I think
haven't
after
got-
2 days, we would all get together at things that we're confused about.
Well, something I would do on the first day would go to the magic shop and pick up my new coat and hat, because I had that done before I lost my stuff.
Yeah.
Arthur, whenever he sort of finds all of these random things in his bag, and all of his companions say, I don't know when we got this, and there's a bunch of important things that we found that we have no memory of, he will head to his temple by himself, and he will talk to whoever's there, whoever he knows is or more powerful than him, basically.
All right. So it's not her actual name. Like that's not her name, but like the title given to the head priestess is Priestess Moon. Obviously. And she is the most senior clerical member of the church, although she's not the authority. She's probably the most practiced. Not, no, I guess it is spellcasting. Most practiced spellcaster. And she would inform you that that yes, if you suspect someone's mind or memory has been manipulated with, we do possess the capacity to attempt to resolve that issue. However, I would caution you that some people they remove memories voluntarily, and they may not wish to have it back. Obviously, if you suspected this memory was taken without their consent, then that's a whole separate issue. But you should make sure if this person really does wish for their memory to come back, or if there's a reason why they've forgotten in the first place.
He'll say that memories, he believes that they are, either good or bad. He believes that they build the person, and that there would be no reason for them to want to forget anything that they've experienced thus far. And he would also explain that it is himself that is suffering from gaps in memory.
Ah. Would you permit me to examine you for a moment?
He trusts her, so he will allow it.
Right, okay. And then she kind of like hums to herself in like a ritual that you recognize as some form of divination magic. And she passes her hand. She never touches you, but she passes her hands like over your face and then like down your shoulders. Just almost like feeling like the aura or whatever. And she gets this look of concern across her eyes. And she says, I detect that you've recently come in contact with the Fae. Have you transversed into the Feywild recently?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
If so, there is a side effect of physically transversing into the Feywild, of which I won't mention any further. No, sorry. Of which topic I won't approach any further, and she kind of like looks sternly towards, like seriously towards you. Not really angrily, but just like seriously. As you know, transversing into the Feywild is banned by imperial decree. So I won't assume that you've done such a thing. But one of the side effects of transversing into the Feywild is memory loss of the time spent there. Such memories are not recoverable by us mortals.
He'll say that he wouldn't willingly enter the Feywild, so if he has gone there, then it's not something he would have done on his own volition. It would have had to have been something like a hidden or a portal that was unseeable.
Yeah, Priestess Moon will tell you. Very well. We can attempt to retrieve your memories. However, such a task would require some preparation, as well as some material components that I do not readily have on hand. She says, for each effect that your mind has been manipulated, the spell requires a diamond ground to dust that's worth at least 100 gold pieces. And she says, I can but only cast one of these ritual cleansings once per day. If you should choose to undergo such a cleansing, I can start. And she kind of glances up as if like consulting memory or something, and she says, my first appointment would be free in 3 days' time.
He'll say that he has the diamond on him if she wants to use that, and if it would be quicker.
She nods and she says, you should keep the diamond with you. I cannot currently enact the ritual. My abilities today and for the next couple of days have been spoken for.
He'll ask if there's any way he can sort of expedite the process, because it may be pressing.
She gives you an understanding, but like kind of not a stern look, but like a serious look. And she says to you, yes, most people who require spell castings of such magnitude, their conditions are equally as dire and as pressing. Unless you know of some other way of returning someone who has been petrified to stone.
That is Greater Restoration that does that, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know of any sort of remedies off the top of my head.
Or a person who has been charmed by a succubi.
I mean, I can kill the succubi if that's what you need.
She has a brief smile, and she says, "No, we have no requirement for you to brave the 9 hells in order to lift the charm."
He shrugs.
Return 3 days hence with your diamond at hand, and I will see to your melody.
Okay. He'll just nod, and then he'll turn back and say, "You don't know of anyone else that can do this?"
She shakes her head and she says, there was an elven druid, but she does not frequent these parts. She prefers to keep to her own in the mist woods.
And then he'll ask, and it'll take, you can only do this ritual on one person at a time, I'm assuming, since you
Yes,
have them.
once per day.
I figured that's why you had them split up.
Basically, she doesn't have the spell slots.
I haven't seen a Pearl of Power anywhere, right?
No.
Alright, yeah, so he'll just go about his business then.
Alright. And I think Obi, you said you were...
I was going to pick up my my new overcoat with the hood on it.
Yep.
The hat and the whole suit, like that's basically waterproof.
Yep.
I wanted to go to the magic shop.
Okay. So, does anyone else want to go to the magic shop with you?
I would definitely ask, and I would bring with me.
I would go.
Okay.
I think Arthur will go too.
Oh yeah, I just saw.
Okay. Does the whole gang want to go to the magic shop?
Come on, Talia.
Yes, we'll even bring Seraphina with us.
Yeah, let's bring the newbie, and I'll kind of like give her not a dirty eye, but like a knowing eye. I know you from somewhere.
I think we had 2 times.
I've seen you before.
Which is not a good sign, because I don't think she's been a cop.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Okay.
gotta take the train, or is it the boat? I forget. It's some sort of vehicle to get there.
Train.
It throws you for a loop. When you get to the train station, not even when you get to, at some point during the day, it throws you a loop because you realize that you're missing one day. Like you thought, for example, you thought it was Thursday. Like you all thought it was Thursday for some reason, but it's actually Friday.
Guys, then I was never mind. Nope, never mind. I'm getting old. Guys, have you seen my rifle? Did I drop it during the fight with the butcher? Because I can't find that thing anywhere.
Have you checked your bag?
No, actually, she probably would remember him dropping the rifle because it was during the fight.
Yeah, it was during the fight. So you do remember your rifle breaking and you dropping it.
You know what? I guess I didn't pick it up. God damn it! I think cost. Anyways, that's for tomorrow. I'm gonna go. God damn it!
Did you actually pick it up though?
You did pick
In my
it up.
back.
I
But
got it for you. I thought.
No, it was by the hole. Or which we don't remember said hole.
I
but it
remember
was by the hole.
dropping it, but I don't have it.
No, the owl went and like.
Yeah, it was when it was a raven at the time. And,
Oh yeah, it was
and
underneath the.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
underneath.
post
and all that.
butcher. That was post butcher after Aelin, so I'm assuming I don't remember
Yeah, so
it.
you remember dropping, but you don't remember picking it back up. So it must be down there still.
So if he did try to reach into his bag, he wouldn't find it because it's bits instead of an entire rifle?
Well, I remember it blowing up, but I don't remember taking as much damage. You know what? I don't know, Kim.
No. It's still largely intact. It's just the receiver and the.
Would I
yeah.
be able to pull it out of my bag if I remembered it?
I mean, you could try putting you could absent-mindedly maybe it's in my bag and reach in.
Yeah,
and
kind of do that.
basically think about it. Yeah, and you pull it out and it's still broken like you
Holy
remember, although you don't
shit,
remember.
guys!
picking
Look
it
at
up.
this.
What a king.
This is. Well, I got work to do tonight. And I'll stick it back in the bag. And I'm still looking forward to today.
Your owl, by the way, when you question it regarding, I don't know what you would question. Like, what would you ask it?
Imagining my familiar kind of gives some basics.
It's really dumb, by the way. It's an owl's
Yeah.
intellect. So if you asked it what happened, it will give you impressions of dark enclosed spaces, loud, thunderous booms with loud noises with brilliant flashes of light, and just a feeling of claustrophobia for a significant period of time.
But it would tell me about being frightened, and it knows, like, it can communicate, like, those basically spawn, like the evil creatures were there or something, right?
Yeah. Since spawn is a fairly big part of your day-to-day activities, yeah, it would recall seeing spawn.
And some things not. I don't know how much it would remember, because if I imagine it seeing through its own eyes as I see through its eyes.
It can't
as well.
communicate to you memories, but it can communicate to you feelings, and you can infer information onto it. So you could probably infer that wherever you were, it was dark and it was claustrophobic and there was spawn.
And that the bird died at one point.
Yes, and there was
It's like just under 2000.
oddly enough, it recreates fairly accurately the smell of ozone. There was a sharp smell of ozone wherever you were.
Okay. And I don't. It doesn't really know time, so it's not like gonna tell us how many hours or whatever we were out.
No, plus it was underground the whole time, so it's hard to tell time.
Yeah, I think it would relay the things that the owl was telling me to my companions though that were around, and I think everybody's here too.
You guys are probably on the train outwards from town, heading towards. Oh man, what did I name it?
Not the Mysterium.
Magic Shop Town.
No, it was
Blue Pines?
No.
I know we did the Blue Pines Fish Market to meet Alfred. The password was deep sea bass.
Where all the cats in
I
that
think
area
they're-
hate Milo.
I think their districts were named like that.
Blue Pines is part of the five. There's 5 streets named after trees along the docks. It was Blue Pines.
Yeah, but that
One of
wasn't where
them.
we're going. It was.
No. Where you're going is. No, it's not on a boat. Sorry, I'm looking through my archive maps. I'll figure it out at some point.
As we're sort
But
of
yeah.
going along the trains as well, Arthur will sort of reminisce. Remember that guy we floated down the river after killing him?
Yeah, that's where we got the squirrel suits, right?
So
Yeah.
Thalia looks around on the train seat and goes, "Is this the same compartment that got blown up?"
Can't be. An Iron Fist? No, it was Iron Fist, wasn't it? Yeah, that
Yeah, the
nice
Iron
one.
Fists.
I have a seat, and next to me, Marmaduke sitting in the seat, like not like a human, but he's sitting, but like in the seat, so he's probably the tallest one here.
I mean, it looks like the same train.
Thalia quickly goes over to the next compartment just to see if there's anybody in there, but takes a look at the seats and then comes back and takes a look at these seats to see if there's any difference.
No, there's no difference, and there's no one in the next compartment next to you.
Is there any
And-
bullet holes in the walls?
Roll me a investigation check. I'll assume you're giving someone inspiration. Assisting her. Yeah, you find
A new wooden wall?
signs of some of that paneling looks newer than some of the other panelings, and some of the rubber seals on the window panes look fresher than other window panes. It's entirely possible that it's the same passenger compartment, but it has been reworked
Well, we knew it was
to
going to be
remove all
reworked.
the
but-
damage.
Oh man, you must have surfed. You know, we got into a fight here. Literally, this one right here. There was guys flying out of the sky, and
I think this is actually this is the closest time when we fought here that we all came close to dying.
Who did we ever figure out who we were up against?
they had this mark that they had stuck in.
Right, on the back of
Thalia's-
their neck.
Yeah, and they had a thing they stuck, I think, in Thalia, and they were chasing that, and it was just bizarre.
But we never found out who that was.
No,
No, and the House of Alexandria didn't know either.
well, Alexander told you that he suspected that they were what are they called? Armsmen for a noble house, but of which one he wasn't sure.
And while we're going, I'm cleaning off my my combat mask.
Okay. Yeah, your combat mask has weird stains on it that
Mhm.
you don't
No
know
clue.
what it is.
But I mean,
It was creepy enough before.
yeah. Well, I'm trying to. Oh, that's part of the reason I'm going to this shop. I'm seeing if they can augment this thing.
Do you have a suit to match this?
Oh, if you wanted something to augment it, like an auto clean feature or whatnot.
No. I want them to. You know how they have those goggles so you can see better in the dark. I can't see as well as you guys with the night vision. So if I get them to put it in the eyes, like, so basically no one could see my eyes, and it would just be like the lenses, so I could see in the dark.
Ooh, we could
That would
even
be
have them
fantastic.
glow red.
No, I don't want anyone to see anything. I just want it to be a blank face, because you didn't have to deal with the thing that crawled in my mouth. I just want to be faceless.
You just want to be mouthless.
Well, I am mouthless with the mask, but I think having someone pointing a large gun at you without a face would be rather terrifying.
We could even paint it to match your skin tone.
No, I'm happy with it being black. But that's that, and I'm gonna see if they can do something about silencing this, and I'll pull out my machined part for my next rifle. So hopefully when I fire it, everyone's ears don't hurt and it won't give us away.
As you pull it out, out of your bag as well falls a satchel that you don't recognize, but it bears the symbol that you recall that Jade Battlestone tasked you with finding.
What the? Can you read this? This is Elvish. This is what you remember the job I told us that I was gonna have us go get in the Undercroft.
Oh, you think that just finding one piece is odd? She brings out like 13 books and a stack of like
Yeah, but
50 papers and other odds and ends.
remember when I had talked to you guys about that job I need to have us go down there, and it was like a big canoe and everything? That's the thing I'm supposed to get.
Arthur will sort of pull out a handful of those coins and say, I think we killed all of those cultists.
I don't know what happened. There's something wrong here, guys.
Okay, well, since we're going to this town, should we ask their clergy? Because I think Arthur would pass along what he found out.
Maybe one of these mages.
Arthur, he probably wouldn't.
No.
Well, you know what? Everything seems all right. Now I don't have to go to the Undercroft. We're all alive. My gun's shit, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really care. This is a job I don't have to do. I'm happy.
And Thalia pulls out one more item. She pulls out the plastic card of Decon or Dekir, whatever his name is, and goes, "Who the hell is this guy?"
I
Yeah,
can't read that crazy Elvish. Elvish is that's some crazy Elvish there.
Yeah.
Did we mug somebody? I have to know. So while you guys are probably at the shop, she's probably gonna go. Well, actually, she'll ask the magic owner there if he knows anybody that could deal with memories.
And we'll pick that up next time in the magic shop. Yeah. I non-combat session, but a little bit. I always worried that I'm being too
Can dragons pick up
what's it called, narrative heavy.
If we wanted to fight, we could have picked a fight with those friggin' people. I just wanted to get out of the Undercroft.
I'm not sure how you would have fared with 3 Aelin Dolores level spawn as well as a dozen minor spawn.
Well, if they fought like Aelin, we wouldn't have much of a problem.
Yeah. Oh, Rex.
Oh!
And I guess I'll even say along the way there, guys, since Aylin's fine, I think I should go visit her.
Yeah, we can.
And I'll look kind of sheepishly. Do you think she would like flowers?
Wait, we never found Aelin, so as far as we
But-
know, she's still missing.
Well, no.
No.
Dolman
Dolman
said
told
that
you guys
she was
that
fine.
She escaped.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she went through something, so I mean, maybe I should bring her flowers.
Arthur will just shake his head.
Yeah. Thalia's, it's like, for some odd reason, I'm really not feeling fond of that Silvermonger guy.
I mean, whatever happened, I mean, I got the job done. We're all fine. I guess I should take back these maps. Pull out the maps.
Hey,
Yeah.
why don't we let Orlin Orin or the archivist make copies of these maps? We don't have to keep going to him for maps.
It's not a bad idea. Perhaps we'll have her make copies of it, then I'll get it back to him.
Okay.
Not that I plan on going to the Undercroft, because apparently something messes with your mind down there. Isn't that like, I don't know if I would add a character I know obviously how the Feywild does, but would my character know anything about the Fey, like it would mess with your mind? Maybe we...
It's fairly common knowledge that the Fae like playing tricks. As for the nature of the Feywild itself, that people forget about what happened there, I don't think that's common knowledge, but you could roll me like an Arcana check to know.
Oh yes, Obi Arcana check? Yes. Holy
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah, so you've heard through whatever investigation that you were doing and during your time as constable, that like the story that like it's been explained to you by some fancy academy mage or some kind that consulted with you guys, that like people who travel to the Feywilds, like they sometimes come back with no recollection of whatever happened there, and sometimes they come back like fucking 10 years older, and sometimes they're gone for like 20 years and they come back and they're still the same age and reportedly have only been gone for like a day or so on their end.
Maybe we stepped into the Feywild. Who knows what's down there?
May I have this notebook full of notes and I can't ask anything because I don't remember anything.
You have to redact all those and black them all out.
Hey, you know, the proof against modify memory is start writing a diary. Their diary.
Well, she basically she's making notes the whole time, so she has all these little notes, but she just has no clue what they mean.
Yeah, it's the problem if you lose your memory and like you write everything in like lawyer's shorthand. It's like, what the fuck was I talking about? I don't remember writing any of this. All right. I hope you guys all had fun. I hope you don't mind the little like a little bit awkward of an introduction for Seraphina into the party.
No, that's awesome. The next thing Thalia's gonna find is that weird suit in her bag.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Environmental
type
suit.
3 environmental suit, yeah.
I'd like to think that I haven't found the eyeball yet, the Kendall eyeball.
By the way, the eyeball has the when you do find it, it has the consistency of a real eyeball, fresh. But like, it stays forever fresh for some unknown reason. Yeah, that's a Type 3 environmental suit. We'll see if you ever find a Type 4 or a Type 5.
Yeah.
Now on the way back, I gotta stop and see Battlestone.
So, yeah, we'll pick this up then next week.
All right. Have a good night.
You as well.
No worries. I'm off to see what's it called? The Strain.
Have fun.
Yeah, the TV show, The Strain.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that before.
Yeah, so I'm going from like a vampire game to a vampire TV show.
It's a good show.
Yeah, it is a good
You
show.
nerd. Now I'm gonna play Diablo.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
I'm playing Diablo.
Zara, you'll be able
The
to
new
make it next
season?
week, yes?
I should be able to. I'll let you know if anything comes up ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm playing a wizard on the new season.
Yeah, just regarding your gear and your level, if you want to be level 6, you can, since the entire party is level 6, barring you. It's just that they were level 5 when we first created your character.
Makes sense.
Oh, what was the XP we got for completing the butcher mission, basically?
I believe I had already awarded you guys the XP for the butcher, for killing him.
I think that's how we hit 6.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
for
how you hit
Undercroft
6.
Adventures.
For your Undercroft adventures, I'm not going to award that much, although you guys did survive several harrowing situations. I'm going to give you all up probably like 1,000 XP each.
Sweet.
Which should bring all of you to, what, 16,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you what's your highest rift you can run?
Right now I'm just doing 40s.
Well, I've made a witch doctor to begin with, but the pet AI is just awful.
I've never liked the witch doctor. It's always been my least favorite class.
So I have a crusader now.
Crusader's my second least favorite class.
Well, I have some people. I have a group of 4. So I have a ZDPS witch doctor. One is rocking the necromancer. The other one hasn't. She hasn't started playing yet, but she'll probably go demon hunter like she always does.
I'll be perfectly honest. I'm a little disappointed that that you guys didn't stop to talk to Aurora, but no, I'm not Aurora. The crazy explodey lady, but no, it's fine.
I'm just dropping the carnos in the freaking
The
screen.
Well, I
carnival
think-
lady?
No, the one with the boom things that blew up the things and burned down the building.
Yeah.
Well, Arthur under there was not sure if anyone or everyone was going to be a spawn, one of the super spawns, and then whenever she did that, he was like, well, she's probably going to explode us if we get near her. Everything down here is terrifying.
He is not wrong.
I'm telling you guys, like, with your spell orb and various other doodads that you've gotten, you guys are like way overpowered for your level. So I've been throwing stuff at you that's like for stuff that's way higher level.
And then we go and hide and make it all useless.
Yep.
Arthur's also, whenever he's down, he was slowly going crazy because if he had to spend one more night without seeing the moon, he was gonna like start freaking out on people. Because he has to do, like, his thing is his what's it called, flaw or whatever, is that he has to perform certain rituals in order to, like, he basically has OCD whenever it comes to his religious stuff, so he has to perform these rituals or else it causes him like great anxiety.
Oh God. He's fucking Ben Affleck
Yeah, we just need to be
in
careful
The
with
Accountant.
spot where it can't
I've
be
never
out.
seen it. So he also does things like whenever he eats, he has to do something with a bell. You guys have probably heard him ringing a bell and saying this chant over and over again. It has nothing to do with anything other than it makes him feel better. Like, it's not part of his actual, like, the core religion of the thing or whatever. Like, he just does that because it makes him feel better, because it relieves something in him. Because I think he does have, like, I don't know, some form of either an anxiety disorder or OCD in certain aspects, but not like full-fledged, I guess, because he doesn't have a bunch of rituals that, well, he does have a bunch of rituals that he does, but I don't know.
At least we know the reason why Marmaduke salivates every single time he hears a bell ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Pavlov. Pavlov. I think that's.
Arthur
Yeah, that's
probably
about
also
what
does salivate anytime he hears a
Yeah,
bell
a
ring.
good spot to snipe at it from.
Obi
Alright,
wasn't
well-
happy because his rifle was gone.
Yeah.
Facing its direction.
Well,
and
I'll
good
catch you
spot.
guys next week.
Dude.
See
I know it's
ya.
pretty late for some of you guys. Bye.